girl.
Thank you. Ooh, child, salon. It made me think of black girls. How I haven't been in the salon so long, but I was just like, damn, we really be spending all day in the salon.
Yeah, girl.
But we were laughing and everything. We were talking about Chris Rock, his new special.
I haven't watched
kind
that
of stuff. So everything you talk about, you hear in the black salon. It was happening.
Yeah, I read an article.
Music.
Well, part of an article, and they were talking about how Will Smith was what did they say? Embarrassed and hurt by Chris Rock's comments during the special. I'm like, well, yeah, you did it, dude. What you gonna be hurt about?
Oh my gosh, it was such a battle.
I'm sure he was hurt when he got smacked across the face.
Right? And he said it still hurt. And so I love that. You have to listen to the special. I thought it was funny, but the guys in the salon, they didn't think it was funny. They were just, some of them were like, man, he was a bitch.
My mom and brother aren't that fond of Chris Rock. They were like, his comedy isn't.
But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't mind the comedy. I thought the special was actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
So I watched the special. I had it playing because it was that everyone was talking about it. So I had it playing while I was doing work, so I could just listen and laugh and do my work at the same time. And so it was just hilarious to me. I just thought it was funny.
Nice. I like this one. Well, I guess before I talk about.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into the show. Sorry.
What's up, you guys?
Hey, everybody. What's up? It's your girl, Triple F Queen Bola.
New tagline with.
And we are BlerdTalk with Bola and Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
Jang, 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 jang. I'm trying new things.
What?
I'm trying new things.
What?
It sounds like... Sorry. Let's I didn't run it by Whitney first.
I feel like Shuri in the first Black Panther. What was that?
What are those? It's okay. We need a new sound effect. Just insert here. Bam. That was a cue for you, Whitney. When you're editing, go ahead and do that.
I don't know what sound effect you asking for, girl. What you asking
I just
for?
Thought it'd be just something funny. I don't know. I'm just thinking of sound effects. Anyway, today, you guys, hi. How are you doing?
As we recover from that moment.
Yes. So today, this month is March, and it's also Women's History Month. So. Actually, we kind of decided to switch up and do something different for this month. We are going to be reviewing an old black classic told in the female point perspective, and it's called Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Now, I know y'all know what that movie is, and I know you've seen it already. Don't kill me. This is my first time watching it.
You back off your feet. Goody, goody.
Yeah.
You met someone, and now you know how it feels. Goody, 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 goody for him.
I don't know all the words with me.
Goody, goody for me. And I hope you're satisfied, you rascal, you.
I thought you were going to sing like the Why Do Fools Fall in Love, that song.
No, because I don't know the lyrics to that one.
Okay.
I really love the...
Goody, goody?
Yeah, I can't even remember. Is it actually called Goody, Goody or not? I just really like that song.
Okay.
It's stuck in my head.
I can't sing right now.
Before me and Bola and our friend Chadney watched it a week ago, it had been probably a couple decades since I'd seen that movie, but that song just stuck in my head because I really like it.
Yeah, and I had not seen it at all. Don't kill me,
which is why I felt the need to rectify that egregious.
And this is a case where it's not. I'm not going to blame my Nigerianness on it. I actually knew about this film. I just never got a chance to watch it. I've seen clips of it and all this stuff, but I just never watched the whole thing. And then I didn't know the story. And I just was like, I don't know. Something told me we need to do this because it was Black History Month and we were talking about Freddie. I had saw a clip of something.
Frankie, my
bad. I saw a clip of something about how these white people were so pissed off that this black guy was singing the song. And it was like the video was trying to point you to the reactions because it's like, oh, they love the music, but they don't like the guy, you know? And it was like, I was like, who is this? And I saw Frankie Lyman. And I was like, this is the guy that sings this song? And then I looked it up and then I was like, oh, wow. So I had already had him in my memory. And I was like, I'm going to go back and watch this film. Because I was like, yeah, I never saw this whole thing. Or I never saw the film. I just couldn't remember watching it because I didn't know the story. And then for some reason, we were hanging out. We were checking out one of our blurred outs for today. Once we get to it, we were me, her, and Chad, one of our guests from last season, and friend. We were just like, hey, let's watch this. And I was like,
was it last
let's.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because we started a new season in 2023. That's right. Okay, yeah.
So we like it, and it just came together. So I was like, you know what? And then I was like, yeah, it's Women's History Month. better thing to talk about than this kind of film because it was told in the perspective, the point of view of the three women that were all Frankie Lyman's wives. It was just so interesting, and it's a great like topic to talk about. It's Black, it's women, it's everything, and it has great music.
It does,
and it's historical, and I love me a biopic. So,
and it's got great comedic moments in there too.
It's great. Anyway, let's
just naturally.
We'll get into it once we review it. But let's get into the blurred out section now, Whitney.
All right,
blur it out, blur it out, blur it out, blur it out. All right. So, first things first. Sorry, that's a Pentatonic song.
Oh,
Their
really?
First album.
I haven't heard
with
that one.
Avi. They made a whole album where it was just original music, and they have a song on there called "First Things First." Wait a minute. First things first. Take a second. It's so fun. Anyway, so first things first. We have a joint blurred out because I promised I would do this. So, like I said, we had come together to actually go to a restaurant of a friend of ours. Well, a friend of mine. But someone we both know, Chef Heaton at Elegant Cuisines, right, Whitney?
Yes.
Yes.
I had such great memories from the years ago from that pop-up event.
Anytime I eat this woman's food, it is absolutely delicious. I have never had anything that she's made that I'm like, nah. And I've been to a couple of her pop-up events and conferences she's had in the past over the years. She was really like working her way up to this point of building a restaurant. She had a dream. She's like, I know I'm going to be a chef, own my own restaurant. And I just love that I got to witness her finally achieve this in a few years, like from 2015 to now. And I'm just so happy for her. So,
yes.
Elegant Cuisines is amazing. Chef Teresa Heaton, you're awesome.
I don't know if it's East or West, but she
moved on
up to the east side.
Whitney.
To that deluxe apartment in the sky.
Well, it's really just a little pop-up store. Oh, you okay?
Sorry.
Okay, while Whitney recovers from that. Anyway, so we went on a blurred outings.
Yes.
And we went and sampled her food at her new restaurant. So her restaurant, Teresa's Liberian, which is different from Nigeria, but we're both on the West Coast. So we got the similar foods and similar flavors. So she did like a West African fusion restaurant. And I loved it. It was really nice. She even had on the wall West African vibes. And I was like, yes. But we went for brunch. And it was totally delicious. Oh, my God. The food was beautiful. It was yummy like crazy. And she had like this nice Whitney playlist, but they play different music all the time. But
I was wondering because like we got there
Whitney
and there
Houston,
was one Whitney Houston song on, and then as we were there for a while, I'm like, is this an entire Whitney Houston?
Yes. Her husband. Shout out to Charles. Charles Heaton was there.
I'm like, who is the Whitney super fan here? Because this is all Whitney.
Yeah, so Charles was like, we just gonna have Whitney for today. And I was like, it's fitting because Whitney is here. No tagline, Whitney is here. And we all love Whitney Houston, of course.
Yes.
But it was just lovely. The food was beautiful. That's one thing that I was like, the colors, the pops of it was just like everything on the plate was popping. The plating was exquisitely done.
And
I even ate that little petal
and
flower.
all the stuff, the actual plates and cutlery thing. Beautiful. The design, everything, like interior design and all of that was just awesome.
Yeah,
beautiful.
She had some notes
delicious
to Africa.
Food. Yes.
And had like little African print fans and a little drum and pictures on the wall, a map with all the flags on it, and even a picture of Liberia. And she had some, because Teresa is very much a woman of God, so she also had verses on the wall too. And I just love that she stayed true to herself. And I love that she put that in there. And so I told her that, I was like, hey, I'm coming. I know that you've had your grand opening now. I've been waiting for you to have your grand opening. I'm coming to see you and eat, and yeah, I'm coming. So I'm going to roll up. So I told her that, and then we took some videos and everything, and I told her we would review it on the pod, and she's already seen our TikTok. So you guys go check it out. It's on our TikTok, BlerdTalk BW. You know, I don't know, what do they say for TikTok? Just
I don't know.
Just
girl, you know I don't know. I am the last person who knows.
Just at BlerdTalk BW, you know, at TikTok, and it's on our Instagram too.
Speaking of, I'm glad you sent me that link to that like learning thing, because I'm like, I need to, because I have no idea.
We both need a lesson, y'all. We need a lesson. But the food flavors was so good. I remember what I had. It was plantain pancakes with apricot syrup. Oh Lord! And we had like berry compote. It was so rich. Not in a bad way. It was just rich. And I was like, I've never had a plantain pancake, and I thought it was delectable. And then even Chadney had these French toast, and she has vegan options, dairy-free options. Doesn't mean there's no meat and stuff. There are meat places, but vegan options are also available for those who don't eat meat. And then Whitney had the salmon, right?
Yeah.
Salmon croquettes.
Thank you. I could not remember what the C French word was.
So they were like little salmon balls or something, and they were really, the plating for that was cool. I love the little
and it was
thing on top.
delicious. Oh my god!
So we just ordered stuff, y'all, and we just was like we all had everything. Everybody's
each
food.
got different things. Yeah,
and it was delicious, delicioso, delicieux. Everything else, all that good stuff. So I recommend you guys, please, if you're an RVA. Visit Elegant Cuisines on Gray Street.
I highly recommend. I got the exact name now. Potato greens, salmon croquettes.
It was good. It was good.
Delicious.
Anyway, so that's our review. I give it a 10 on 10, and we going back for dinner because I want to try more of the West African fusion. But that plantain was like really hidden because plantain's like a big West African thing to put with dishes. So I saw that in her food. And I was just like, it's the same. Like, her food is the same all these years. It's still full of richness and love, and it's just yummy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm impressed with her very much.
Girl, I went to look up what I had when we went to brunch, and now I'm on the dinner menu. Why you got me looking at this? I'm hungry now.
Isn't that right? We need to go for dinner, actually, because that's when you can find the fusion food. We're going to go. Don't worry. Matt already said, let's plan it. And I was like, Matt's always, our friend Matt.
He's always down.
He's always down for everything. So my second blurt out, and then I'll pass it to Whitney. Do you want to say any more about Elegant Cuisines?
Just delicious. Delicious.
Right. There you have it, guys. A 10 on 10 review.
Yes.
Elegant Cuisines gets what?
Check it out, glasses. You guys. What street is that it's on?
West Gray Street.
West Gray Street,
in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, y'all. Anyway, so my next one is anime, actually.
Is it the same one?
No.
Oh, okay.
It is not Ranking of Kings. I don't want to talk about that one.
Oh no, I was thinking Naruto.
Oh no, and I love Naruto
for the last 2 episodes. You've been
I'm still pushing through, y'all. I'm still pushing through. I've been distracted because the Flash is back on, and then Shadow and Bone's about to start, and then there was some other stuff we were watching. But there's just so much, so you gotta like pair it, But this one is actually an anime that I watched recently because a girl at my work. Shout out to Katisha Edwards. She does the time at our work, but she also is a blerd, and I had to just shout her out because she gave me some great recommendations. So we always talk about different things we're watching and different stuff. And she recommended, I was talking about how much I was not sure I liked Ranking of Kings that much. And then she was like, what? I really like Boji. And then she's like, I like the little girl from from Spy Family. And then she mentioned Kotaro. She was like, it was just cute characters that she loved and felt like she needed to protect them based off of their shows. And then I was like, Kotaro Lives Alone. I was like, I don't know that one. And then she's like, oh my God, you haven't heard about that one? She's like, you need to look at that one. And so I did. And I realized that as much as the fun, fast animes and with all the action is great, I truly love the slice of life animes where they're just talking about real people, like stuff like Horimiya or even Chobits a little bit, like those kind of dramas where it's just like regular life or like Silent Voice or Fruits Baskets, those kind of animes.
Yeah, Silent Voice was so
those kind of, I love slice of life where they're just regular everyday dealing with emotions, people. There's no like extravagant things happening, there's no magical realism, whatever. I really enjoy those. And this one was really, really particularly good because it talked about something that I had not really been like that cognizant of, about the state of like Japanese orphans or children. So the premise of Kotaro Lives Alone is that it's a 4-year-old kid who's been abused and abandoned by his family, and he rents an apartment and lives by himself. And how I
don't understand how that's possible, but anyway, okay.
It apparently is. So it actually is kind of. She told me that too. So I'm not gonna lie. This anime, I watched it like
What's it on, by the way?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's dubbed. And there's only 10 episodes, and that's it. There's nothing else.
I actually enjoy that when I can have
some
some, because sometimes, finding the time to watch something extended can be challenging.
Yeah.
So it's nice to find like really self-contained ones. So that's
Right.
good to know. Continue, please.
But it started me on a whole like the feels on this. I love the little kid because he like talks like an old person, like old Japanese samurai thing. So he calls everybody sir this and lady this, and the way he talks, and he carries a plastic sword. He's just a great little kid, but he literally lives on his own and is trying to do everything on his own. But at the same time, you're like, no, you're a kid. You need somebody to take care of you. And so I love how the people in this apartment, like the few people that he meets and makes friends with in the apartment, like kind of take him in and like help him and be there with him and stuff, because it's like they don't try to get into it too much, but there's like a lot of issues about the family abuse and those kind of situations. And he's a kid that used to live in a foster home, or apparently in Japan, they really, this is something I never heard of, but they don't really put their kids in foster care and orphanages. They actually have institutions where they call them the throwaway kids, the parents that don't want to take care of their kids.
Is it like a group home?
I don't know. It's different. It's worse. Like, I'm honestly going to post some clips for anyone who watches this after listening to this. I'm going to post the informational clips that I've watched on this problem in Japan, because it's different from having an orphanage. It's literally these children grow up in an institution where the people that take care of them are just staff, and they get paid to take care of the kids, but they leave. So it's like the kids that come out of these things are like, not only are they like stigmatized throughout life, but they grow up with bad like bonding issues, and they're like made to feel like they're not really loved. They're not really, like, somebody watches them to make sure they're okay, but then like those people leave and goes to their own families. They don't know how to bond well with people. They get stunted. They get sheltered. They don't know. And Japanese people are very much known for like doing very independent. The children are independent early. Like they get on the trains themselves to go to school. They do everything themselves. And so these kids are stuck in these places, and they're not really being loved. They don't have family bonds. They don't grow up knowing a sense of, and a lot of them, after they leave these places, end up being poor or dying or killed or something. And it's like a really bad system. Like, so many of these children, the parents can't take care of them. They just throw their children away, and they leave them in institutions. And Japan's unique because it's like they're like the main place in Asia that does this, as opposed to having an actual orphanage or putting them in foster care. And it's almost like people don't trust the foster care people, the people that want to take them in to give them a home. And the parents have so much rights over children, even though the parents are abusing the children. You know what I mean? It was so like, I was so shocked to learn about this stuff. I was like, they keep the kids in institutions? I just was like, it's different from an orphanage. It's different from a group home. And I was very upset to hear about that kind of stuff, but it was like, it's good to know how things happen in other countries and how different things are. But the show really shows that it's a kid that, not always, it's kind of rare, but it's still like, it's not unheard of having, especially back in the past, there's children that live by themselves in Japan, and they do and fend for themselves if their parents are not around, or if their parents like just up and left them. So they have to tend to themselves or their parents or their younger, I mean, not their parents, but their younger siblings. And so you got to see, I really like whoever wrote the anime. I'm sorry, I don't have the name, but it's called Kotaro Lives Alone. And that person really like was trying to address this issue of the children that have been abused or in those kind of homes or institutions, and how, you know, it's really good when you can come alongside and support them and build them up when they can get help. And that's not always the case in real life. But this anime showed, I just love it. It's such a good one. It's really heartrending. Like, I don't know, but it was really great. I watched like the whole thing in like a day, and I was like, I wanted to cry like all the time. But it was really nice to watch. It had some funny things, some nice things, and it was wonderful to watch, but it was also sad to see the state of like the throwaway children of Japan. And I just was like, to find out it was a real thing, how there's a lot of children that are just like abandoned, and then they don't have anywhere to go. So Japan like lets them stay in these run down institutions where staff like just watch them, but then the staff leave, and then the kids are stuck there, and then they're stunted for life. and it's bad. But the anime is really hopeful, really sad and poignant, and I just thought it was amazingly done. I really think everyone should watch it. It was just wonderful.
Sweet. Just added it to my Netflix list.
All right, that's all I'm blurting out about food, and Kotaro lives alone.
Okay. Cool. All right. I guess since it's passed over to me, since you were talking about anime, it just reminded me that I did watch the first season of an anime called Love is War.
Which I think I heard of that.
I mentioned it, I think, maybe last episode or so, or maybe when we were just talking, maybe it wasn't on an episode. But one of the YouTube streamers who I follow, he was talking about different animes he liked. So I had written down some of them because he's how I found out about Ranking of Kings, and I loved that. Even though Spy X Family hasn't really been hitting it for me, but Love is War is interesting. It's about these two teenagers. One's the president of the student council, and one's the vice president. The guy's the president, and the girl's the vice president. And they're in love, and everyone's like, oh, they make such a great couple. But neither one of them wants to admit it because they're like, then that person has the power, the one who admits it first. So it's all with them going back and forth trying to get.
You said Love is War? Okay. And this is on streaming on what?
I thought it was only a one season show. So I got through it and I finished it because the first season's on Hulu. Okay. And I got to the last episode and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem like the end. And I'm like, no, there's other episodes, and it's on Crunchyroll, the other episodes. But the first season is on Hulu.
Okay.
So that was kind of a disappointment where I'm like, I'm gonna have to pay Crunchyroll some money.
Right. And I just finished I used my 14-day thing to watch Ranking of Kings. Oh man.
But
is it Kaguya-sama Love is War?
Yes. Sorry. I did write it down as Love is War because that's what the streamer called it, but yeah, the full name is Kaguya-sama Love is War. Add
it to my stuff. Is it dubbed or what?
It's in both. I watched it dubbed.
Okay.
I don't know. Did I mention on a past episode having watched Rosaline?
No.
Okay. I watched Rosaline or Rosaline. I forget how it's pronounced. On Hulu. It's a movie. So again, self-contained, but it was so good. It's about Rosaline from Romeo and Juliet, like his former girlfriend.
Oh yeah, the one that he just like dumped as soon as
he
saw.
Yes,
that's actually messed up. Like
it is messed up.
My sister hates Romeo and Juliet. She was like, Romeo and Juliet is a trash story, and everyone's like amping it up. She's like, it's such a trash story. She's like, Romeo's trash.
It's kind of one of those movies that's kind of making fun of just how trash and how much of a F-boy Romeo is.
I was like, how you be like, Rosaline's my thing, Rosalind, and then be like, Juliet, and I'm going to die for her. I'm like, what?
Right? But it's just so funny because Rosalind is like, it's really hilarious. Bola, you will love it. Check it out. It's on Hulu. Rosalind.
Okay.
Hilarious. And it's just like the ending, like the final scene is also really funny. But just watching it and her looking at this like, what the F is going on?
Is it animated?
No, live action.
Okay.
And she's like, you said that exact same thing to me like a few days ago. The exact same thing.
Right.
And I'm like, he's literally an F-boy.
Right.
what?
He was like, they made it look great in the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet. They made it look like such an interesting artistic thing.
It was very pretty.
It was, and I'm not gonna lie, I do love it, but it was crazy. But you looking at it now, you're just like, man, it's just stupid.
Yeah,
they were just both stupid. Like,
right?
Why did they let themselves do this? Like, as an adult now, looking at this, you're just like, when you're younger, you're like, oh, the passion, and then you're like, now you're like, no, this is just some dumb stuff.
Yeah, right.
Like, where were the parents? Like, who was in charge of these children? How were they able to get a knife? Like, just like, how old are they? You know. Y'all don't go back. Like, just don't go back. Because I find the more that I go back and re-look at things, I'm always like, damn.
This was so problematic. Why didn't I see this? Well, I mean, when you're a child, you don't see it. And then you watch stuff as an adult and you're like, why?
Right. And then I'm like, even now, like, I literally just this weekend, I swear it was yesterday, I heard the radio person talking about, she was doing a throwback to Say My Name, the Destiny Child song.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, the song's about cheating and everything. And then, I don't know why, I did not realize that's what the song was about. And it was, I don't know what, I just love that song. And that time, and I was just in my room, yeah. Say my name, say my name. I didn't care. But she's literally talking about cheating. If you are not cheating on me, say my name right in front of the person. Because and I did not. It just occurred to me, that's what the song is about.
It's like that for a lot of songs. Like that's one. And then you have the Every Step You Take, which is like a stalker song.
Oh.
And then the...
I'll be watching you, yeah.
Yes. And then the freaking the Escape song.
Which one?
The one where the actual name of the song is like Escape by the beach and why can't I think? Give me a second.
Okay.
Hold it up while I look.
Anyway, y'all. So we are leaving Blerd out now, and
not quite. You're holding it down while I'm looking.
Why are you serious? Oh my gosh.
The Pina Colada song.
Oh, if you like pina
coladas and getting caught in the rain.
What's that about?
If you're not cheating. I was tired of my lady.
Oh, you know what?
And then she was doing the same thing. They found each other because they were both trying to cheat.
Dang, I did not know.
Yes.
Yo, that's messed up.
Right.
I'm telling you. I was just like, I don't know why that Say My Name thing blew my mind yesterday. I was like, well, damn. That's what Beyonce is. And I was like, I really wasn't paying attention to... I pay attention to lyrics so much now. And I love certain artists because of lyrics. But now I'm looking back, I was like, damn, I don't know what the heck they were saying. Ooh, like, you know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to run through really quick my other blurred outs. I actually had a few this time. Very quickly, I watched, it was an Amazon movie with Jennifer Lopez, and I forget the guy's name, but Shotgun Wedding was very entertaining.
Shotgun Wedding?
Yeah, so just want to shout that out really quick. Not a lot to say about it, but it was entertaining. I would give it a watch. I want to, I'm excited about being able to watch You Season 4 Part 2. Because they broke it up into, I think this is going to be the final season, but they broke it up into 2 parts. So yesterday was the premiere of the second part of the season. I haven't watched it yet, but I was just excited about it. I really love that show. I can't say why.
Everyone loved that show. I don't like the premise. Serial killing and loving at the same time.
The premise, yes, sounds problematic, which it is, of course, but they make it so entertaining, and it's so funny because the main character, he's like kind of self-aware, but kind of very much not. He's a feminist, but he's like out here killing these romantic rivals and women. And I'm like, dude, are you get it together, dude. Get it. You need to get it together. You need some help. You are not seeing how problematic you are, sir.
Right.
But it's funny because of that. It's kind of like a dark humor type of thing sometimes. It's hard to explain, but it really is a very good show.
Okay.
So I tried to get my mom to watch it. She never got all the way through. But then Tiffany's sister was talking about how good it was. And now all of a sudden she want to watch it. I'm like, oh. So when I
recommend it. I know, right? I'm like, come on, Mom.
Right?
That ain't right.
Right?
Okay. So sometimes it be like that, though.
It is. I was a little salty, though. I was a little salty.
So what else you blurting out about?
So just 2 more things. Big one. Well, let me do this first. After we're done recording, I'm going to hang out with my mom, so I'm going to give her a choice between what we watch. I'm either going to have her watch Jesus and the Black Messiah, which she has not watched yet, and it's back on HBO Max, and she was like, it looks so dark. My mom has a problem with cinematography that's kind of like gray or blued.
No, it's not like that.
So that's
sepia toned,
or yeah, she likes brighter colors with the cinematography and stuff.
But don't mean the story not gonna be good, girl. No, she would love it.
I told her, I was like, it's really good. I'm like, because it's not usually my type of movie, but I'm like, this was really good. You really should see it, Mom. So I'm gonna give her a choice between that, and then she was actually talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once, because she was asking me about it, and I was like, it was a great movie. I have not recommended it to you because you're not always into weird movies, and this is very weird.
It is super weird,
very weird, but it's great.
Well, the point comes across, man.
Yes,
man,
it
does
is
it come across?
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a try. If the weird's a little too much, then at least she's seen it. But I'm gonna.
It's a very great film, y'all.
It really
Please
is.
watch it.
And especially
we have an episode about that from last year. Go listen to that if you haven't, because it's really good.
Definitely. And the reason it came up was because, the Academy Awards are coming up, and Michelle Yeoh is up for. I hope she does too, because my mom was saying that she would be, I think, the first Asian actress
to get it. Yeah,
to get it, and I was like, that would be amazing.
She would deserve it,
and
too.
She's amazing. And I was telling my mom the whole thing about the actor who plays her husband and how. I feel like almost it's like even more difficult in Hollywood for Asian than it is for like black people. I mean, it's not great for either of us. I mean, they could do better.
It's worse for them, though.
Yeah, it is. So I was like, he spent like decades not being able to get anything. So I was telling my mom
Somebody told me it pans out because they're like white adjacent. They're like, they get better schools and everything. I was like, that's not right.
Wow.
I was like, that's not right, but okay.
Yeah. So I'm also looking forward to the Academy Awards because I want Angela Bassett to get Best Supporting because like she acted her ass off.
And she wasn't even in the film for that long, but
she stood out so much.
Those parts.
Right?
Wow.
That was the part that hit me the most because she was just like, oh my God, I was like,
haven't I given everything?
Yes! And you did, girl! You did!
All your family members gone right now. I know you ain't talking
Throw
about
all the awards at her.
Anyway.
Throw all of them at her. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Academy Awards.
Baldy. My bad, Okoye.
What's that?
I was thinking of how Mbaku called her a bald-headed demon in the second film. Oh, man.
But my last blurt out is about The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Is it come back yet?
It hasn't, but I never watched the 4th season.
Oh, okay.
And I'm about 4 episodes in. I just started watching it a couple days ago. So it had been like a while since I watched, seasons 1 through 3. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how amazing this show is. It is consistently always.
I love it. I'm waiting for the last season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it now too. But I've just been watching the 4th season the first time around. I think I'm on episode 4, but I'm like, this show is amazing, like excellent. Right. So I'm just, I had to blurt out about it because like now that I'm watching, I'm like, I forgot how awesome.
And that's on Amazon Prime, y'all.
Yes, it is. So check it out, y'all. Awesome. That's the end of my blurting out.
Okay. I will add one quick one to it. Yesterday, me and my mom and my sisters, because we love Bollywood, and so Yashraj Films it's a company, but
seems like everything that I ever watch is from
probably a Yashraj film that I've shown you. But their films are amazing. They're wonderful, and I love them so much. So the head of the film company has died back in 2012.
After he did
he's been dead for a while. But they did a docuseries on Yashraj Films called The Romantics. It's like a 4-episode mini docuseries, and they literally interview like 30 actors and people that I've grown up watching, and all of them talk about his life. Even his sons, who are actors. One's a producer and director. He doesn't act. The other one's an actor. He was in Mutsei Dosti Karogi. Did you watch that one?
I did. Is that the Will You Marry Me?
The friend. Yeah, Will You Be My Friend?
Oh, no, sorry. Okay, Will You Be My Friend?
Did you watch the one where the boy was in love with one girl, and then the other girl was the other friend, female friend, was the one sending him the letters, but he thought it was the other girl?
Is that the one with
Hrithik Roshan?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get that mixed up with the one because
one is called Will You Marry Me? Yeah, that's what they shot with Priyanka Chopra.
Okay.
And this one is with Hrithik and Rani and Kareena Kapoor.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're a Bollywood fan like I am,
darling, I love you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That was like one of the first ones you ever showed me.
That's the song from Would You Be My Friend?
I did. I remember once I had it in my head which one it was.
That film, yeah, one of those. I love that film. But
I did.
Anyway,
I think it might have actually been the very first one that you showed me.
I think so. I think I showed you Kabhi Kush Kabhi Gum.
I feel like Kabhi Kush Kabhi Gum might have come maybe second or third. Okay. I feel like that might have been the first one.
Okay. I'm not sure because I don't remember. But the docuseries really, I mean, we like binged that thing last night. Like we didn't go to sleep till like 3. It was amazing to just go back and look at the history and all the actors that I love, Abhishek, all the Indian actors that are just like world stars. If you're not someone who likes Indian movies or anything, please go find out about it. Bollywood is boss. And I recommend watching some of those movies. There's a bunch of them online. And we reviewed RRR actually last year. But it was wonderful to see because his son, who was like a really famous producer, is like a recluse. He does not come out, but he actually came out and spoke for a long time and got interviewed. And this is like, everyone was shocked because even the actors that know him, they're like, no, he doesn't do this. He doesn't make appearances public. He's not a people person. He stays to himself and he works. He came out and like, talked about the film and film industry and what he was doing back then, all the hits and everything. And it was just like, for someone with me, I watched this stuff. My mom watched the stuff growing up in Nigeria. So she was like talking about, oh yeah, I know that movie. And then it got to the part where we came in, we're like, oh yeah, we watched this, we watched Hanson, we were watching all that stuff 10 years ago. And even now. And so it was like lovely to just watch the documentaries on his life and his family and to see all those actors that we grew up watching come together and talk about him and their experience and how they got into it and how beautiful Yash Raj films are, how amazingly wonderful they are. Like most Yash Raj films are like, there's hardly, you can't find one that's bad, like really bad.
Who's heading it now? One of his sons?
Yeah, one of the sons. I did
the one the recluse one. Okay.
Yeah, Uday is his son that acts, but he doesn't act anymore. He became like a Hollywood producer. He does stuff here now. But it was just great, and I loved it. So Bollywood fans, shout out. Watch The Romantics. If you never watched Bollywood before, message us. I'll give you recommendations of what to start you off on. Because there's tons of stuff that I want us to get into on soon, very soon. Yeah,
we really should go back and review some of the like classics that you got me hooked on.
Right.
But what did you say? What it's streaming on?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix, okay.
It's called The Romantics.
Sweet.
And it's a 4-part docuseries.
Cool. All right. So I think that's the end of our blurred outs, you guys.
Yeah, kind of long, guys. So we have a bunch of stuff for you guys to check and look at, but it's all good. All right, so let's get into our review. So we are doing Why the Fools Fall in the House. And we mentioned at the top of the pod about why we decided to pick this for. I just remember after watching it, we had like a great discussion, the three of us.
Yeah.
Chad not being here, but she's here in spirit. And we just really loved the film. And we were talking about all the things that happened to women back in those days, because this was like back in the 50s and 60s. And the fact that the film was really about, the POV of this film was about,
was from the point of view
of the 3 women that claimed to be Frankie Lyman's wives. And
widows.
They had a good, because it looks like Frankie just didn't divorce nobody.
Nope.
He just kept moving back and forth from wife to wife. And he had a tragic life.
And short.
Very short. He was only 25. And I was like, you done married 3 women before the age of 25? Damn. You were getting around. Anyway, he was a bad drug addict. So that was the main thing that got him. He died of overdose. But also, I think it was disappointment because once he was on top with the teenagers, his group back in the day, and then he went solo for a bit, but the drugs and everything, it just didn't work out, and his music career was faltering, it was failing him. And I think
also the fact that he split from his group, because that was his family.
Yeah.
Because didn't he say that his father was gone?
Yeah.
Or whatnot?
His father wasn't around.
Yeah, and you never saw in the movie any mention of the mother or anything like that. So it's and it said that he was the youngest member of the teenagers. He was 13. So it's you start into this stardom, you have no it's just
no
your mom,
foundation,
no foundation. There's very little chance of this going super well.
Yeah, that's the only thing that made me have when we look back and talked about this movie, that was the thing that made me have just small points for him. Because at first I was just you're just a buster guy. You're cheating with all these women, going back and forth, doing all this stuff. You're lying to them. You're lying about everything. You're taking from them. Not doing well. I mean, he done killed one's dog. He done effed up the other one's house. And then he just straight up lied and died on the third one. You know what I mean? It was just, I just was like, he was just all over the place.
He was.
I'm not gonna lie, I would qualify him as a trash guy. He had talent, but he was just on these drugs, just doing all sorts of nonsense.
But I feel like he tried. He like kept trying to do better, but like, you know, he was an addict. Like, he needed to get like actual help and stay with it, but like he didn't have any type of support. Facility. He did, but I mean, we saw in the movie he didn't stay there.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like he didn't even really have a chance.
Yeah, and then he went to the army too, and then he left that too. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why it seemed like he just kept trying to reinvent himself everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's like the way the movie presented him is like he was just all over the place. And I guess because there wasn't that much about him, which is why they decided to make it from the view of the women in this infamous court case, because all three women were trying to, I guess, get rights or claim royalties off of that song, Why the Fools Fall in Love, because other people were singing it, and it was still such a bop. It's still a bop. Like, I love that song, Why the Fools Fall in Love, you know? And so the three women were like, no, I'm married to him. No, I'm married to him. No, I'm his wife. He done went all over the place, married all these women, treated them horribly. It was a hot mess. And so I like the film because it's the women's point of view of how they dealt with him. Mm-hmm. It's, of course, some of it's based off of real events. Other stuff is, of course, dramatized. Mm-hmm. But they did talk about what happened in the proceedings. Mm-hmm. So they got some stuff from that.
Oh, my God. Little Richard is in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Little Richard's in the movie.
Playing himself.
When was this movie made? 1997, right?
Yeah, I think 97 or 98.
97. And it stars Lorenz Tate, who plays Frankie Lyman. And it has Halle Berry, has Vivica A. Fox, and then I don't know who that other lady is. Do you know? Amira something?
Layla Rashawn? Or Leela Rashawn?
Or Leela Rashawn. Yes, I just remember her face because she was around black movies in the 90s.
Exhale, I think she was in that. Yeah, she was. Okay.
So they were all popular women at that time, beautiful black women at that time, and they did a wonderful job. Like, they carried the film. Like, the film was about the women.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was. Which is why we're reviewing it during Women's History Month.
Yeah, because there's so much, women endure so much. And I was wanting to talk about that and how these women, they like stood by him, loved him, tried to help him many times, you know. And then it was just like, especially the time period, they were just taken advantage of, you know. I just felt really bad. I was getting like those vibes from when in the scene where he killed her dog. It was an accident, but he still was stupid enough to try it.
He was. You know? I feel like that was probably drug induced.
Yeah, he was on some stuff. Like, he was off his rocker. But at the same time, I was just like, man, why did you do that to that woman? That's hard. And I got flashes of For Colored Girls. If you ever read the play or watched it, For Colored Girls,
it's been like probably over a decade since I've seen that.
Tyler Perry did a version of it too, and the scene that is so striking and terrible is in the film too. But there was one part of For Colored Girls, because it really is a play, but we read it in school. I read it a couple times, and I remember watching it being performed because I liked the whole thing about each girl was a color, and they all talked about the tragic things that happened to black women in time in different parts of, well, just different things that happened to all these women. All of them were either abused or hurt or something happened to them by men, you know, that they loved. And so one of them was a woman who had a man who came back from Vietnam, and he was just not all there. And they had some babies, you know, they had children. And he just was, again, he wasn't all there. He really needed help from what he had suffered. And there was nothing around during that time after Vietnam War. And so he just would take his anger out and his issues and be abusive to the wife and the children. And at one point, he had gotten so angry, he had taken the children and put them outside on the ledge, like outside the window. He hung them, like he was holding them outside the window. And he was like, you know, he was doing the same thing that Frankie Lyman did with the dog in this film. He's like, you don't do this for me? You're just getting all angry. And she's like, bring my babies inside. And he let them go. And he killed both of their children. And it was so devastating for that character. I think her character color was green or brown or something. But I just thought of that as soon as I did. Like, it just made me flash to that. Because he just dropped her dog, even though it was an accident, but he was on some stupid high, acting dumb. It was just not cool, you know? But to take something that she loved her dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you just did that. And I'm sorry, but you devastated her. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was not something you needed to do. just like the character in that play. But it was just.
I felt like it was just the drugs.
But
I also want to since we're talking about Vivica A. Fox's character, who was Mickey.
You talking about her child that she had?
Yes,
that she didn't take care of.
Throughout the movie, as I'm watching it again, I'm like, wait, they talk about her having a little girl named Yolanda who was living with the grandma. I was like, at no point in the movie do we see this child.
Right.
She doesn't mention it. We don't see it. I'm like, so you just went and had this life with Frankie Lyman, y'all living in the nice place for a little bit before.
That happened back in the day too. Like when they couldn't take care of their children, a lot of women, especially black women who were trying to redo their life, they would just drop the children for their parents. So the kids were raised by the grandparents. I mean, it still happens today.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
But I was really focused on that. I'm like, so what
about
your little girl?
Yeah.
Though? This dog. But what about your little girl? Where your little girl at?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not gonna lie, that was a sore point. And I was like, but you don't got your child. But she was running. She was a petty thief.
Yeah,
her character Elizabeth,
and that was funny.
A petty thief.
That was one of the comedic to me, subtle comedic things, but are really funny. Like as the movie starts and you're introduced to each character, it has their name and their occupation below them. And when it gets to her, I forgot what her full name was. It was Elizabeth
something
Watts or something. But below it says petty thief. And I'm like, that's wrong.
Well, she wasn't known for anything else.
That was her occupation.
Also, my thing that was messed up about her, and I couldn't believe that she actually won the case at the end of the movie. Because at first she was like, oh, we gonna all split it. Because after they had all heard each other's stories, and we're like, well, damn, Frankie really screwed us all over.
Yeah.
He was lying and treating us all bad and doing something bad to all of us. So it was like, but she was just trying to save her butt. But she was like, oh, yeah, let's if I win, I'll split it 50-50 of you, and we'll split it. We'll split the money. And there was not really any money to be had. There was, but the
not
record
nearly
companies,
as much as they thought.
The record companies already consumed that money. It was millions of dollars that they were owed, but at that time, black people didn't receive their royalties or money or things for a lot of stuff that they produced. Most of their music and ideas and things were stolen and kept, and so they were thinking there was a lot of money, but it wasn't. But the fact that at the time they were like, yeah, we're going to share this money. And then when she won, she just reneged on both of them. I was like, you know what? You a thing. You a so-and-so for real. She was a so-and-so for real. She got that petty thief on. It was popping. You know what I mean? But I was like, yeah. But my thing with her is that she was already married to somebody else.
That's right, she was.
And then she married Frankie, and I'm just like, but you didn't get a divorce either. So how is this valid?
You know what?
Even
now that you mentioned it, this is just a trend. It's so people just going around that's too much paperwork to get a divorce. Let me just.
I was like, so that was happening in the 60s. I mean, damn, in the 50s, damn, you're just not even getting a divorce. You're just like, I'm just gonna remarry someone else.
It's just a do-over. Tabula rasa, clean slate now. Nobody remembers. Nope. And then Halle Berry's character, Zola Taylor, who
she was the singer,
didn't have no records of her marriage or divorce. She's so we understand that you you got divorced from this other guy before you married Frankie.
Right.
It's yeah. And it's so, but you got divorced in Mexico. It's yeah. And you also married Frankie in Mexico. Yeah.
And there's no proof of this divorce because
he's
the divorce lawyer.
The place burned down. They had the records. It's and then the divorse lawyer, he's
dead. The attorney is
the
dead.
ex-husband was dead.
Yeah, the ex-husband was dead. The attorney is dead.
Was the attorney was in the hospital or something.
His feet chopped off or something. And I was
what?
This is a lot. Too much was happening with these chicks, and I was like, you're both shady. The only one was really Amira, who was the last one. She was the only one that was really legit, and she was the last one. And I think probably the youngest one too. So even though these women were grown women playing these characters, we were in our minds, in our conversation, guys, afterwards, we're like, let's figure out what kind of ages were they? Because at first we were like, if you look at Frankie Lyman kind of looks like a young kid.
Yeah, he's got such a baby face.
And then he started off all these relationships. If you think about it, he was really like a Romeo. He was a Romeo kind of
F-boy.
Too young, doing all this stuff. Not together, not knowing what's the right thing to do, not doing.
And speaking of, you said something.
Not doing what's right.
Well, I don't know if you've said it yet, but like when we were talking with Chadney last week, we were talking about it. Also, it just seemed to be the thing that people thought they had to do. They had to get married. Right. It's like, you didn't have to. You don't have to marry every single person you're fond of, but it seemed like they just thought they had to. So like, you just went around marrying chicks left and right,
and not even separating properly.
Right.
But going back to the age thing, because we were like, if he died at 25, and then the span of the year, the timeline for all the stuff in the 60s, and I was just like, so how young were they? Was he getting it? Because he was getting it in, but it looked like he was getting it in at a very early age, and I was just like, did some of these women rape him? Like,
yeah, like when we looked it up, it was statutory. Like him and Zola.
Started early.
Like, yeah, because, like, the article that now granted it was Wikipedia, but it was like, yeah, Frankie Lyman was 14 and Zola was 18 and said that they begun their sexual relationship. And I'm like, whoa. Plus, he already looked like a baby.
Right.
So, like, girl, what you doing?
Right.
What you doing?
That's another flag there. Right? I was like, whoa, this is not right. This is not correct. And then, again, it was like all the different, and it looked like he was doing all these things like, a year within a year. Mm-hmm. He would be like, oh, I'm with Zola, and then I'm with that one, and I leave her, and then I go back to Zola, and then I leave her, and then I'm like off on my own, and then I'm in the military after the failed rehab stint, and then he's still always trying to get his career back on in the film. Anyway, it was like he was always trying to get his career back on, but his junky habits and junky ways was just like messing things up. I remember the scene where he was supposed to, like, he was with Elizabeth still, Vivica A. Fox character. He had gotten a chance to sing, and he messed it up so bad because he was so high right before he went on,
right?
And he just sang terribly and passed out right on stage. And the guy that was working with him, that even co-wrote the songs, he got all his money. Frankie didn't get any like royalty rights. That was the messed up part, but. It was just like, you're just a junkie. You're not reliable.
Literally like a gangster. When we looked it up, it's like that dude.
Yes,
who, like,
exactly.
He was an actual gangster.
Which is what happened back then too. And so it was hard to really look at it. I was definitely on the women's side. I didn't like that they were fighting and all that kind of stuff. But of course, when money's involved, you just gonna be fighting.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure they were all like mad. The thing is, Zola and Elizabeth knew about each other.
Yeah.
It was Amira who was blindsided about he's like, yo, he had 2 other wives? What? When did that happen? Because he lied to her completely.
And plus, I think it's like another issue that like it seems happens out in the world very often. Mm-hmm. Some dude cheats on some chick with some other chick, and the chick is mad at the other chick, but the other chick didn't even know you existed. So it's like, why are you mad at her? Be mad at him. Right. Like, I mean, if she knew that the other chick existed, then yeah, both of y'all wrong. But like, if she didn't know, why you mad at her? She's also a victim. You need to be getting on. It's like the Boy Is Mine song.
Everybody should be getting mad at the guy. Let's not fight us ladies. Let's get mad at the guy because he was doing the dirt. Women always constantly fighting and being pitted against each other for men and all this stuff. And I'm just like, no, let's not do that. So I like that in the end, the women kind of like came to some kind of mutual
together, even though it
fell apart as soon as the ruling came out.
I mean, but it fell. If it had been either of the other two, I feel like it would have stuck together. But because it was Mickey, the petty thief,
she reneged on all them anyway. But she got back at her. Amira got back at her.
Because she appealed.
And then she won.
Mm-hmm.
But then by that time, there was like hardly, because of all the lawyer fees and the court cases and everything, like, I think it was like, what, $12,000 that she got or something?
Not very much.
It wasn't a lot of money that they received, which was also sad within itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it just like, to me, it was showing like, I saw it as like, it's just like a continuation of the times we see, like, women are always subject to men and their whims. Even he's not even an old man or smart man. You know, I was like, why? I looked at it and I was like, why are 3 beautiful women like this let this son of a so-and-so just mess him up like this? Like, he done messed up Zola's house, got taken from her.
Oh my God, that was heartbreaking.
I was like, all that work she did, she worked for the Platters.
The dog thing was like, that was like really messed up, but it was heartbreaking when her entire home
in California,
her home, y'all, is just gone when she gets back.
Just messed up. And I was like, you know what? I don't know why she left her money with him. I don't know why she trusted him. And women do that all the time, too. We are so quick to love and give and everything, but you don't check if they're the right kind of guy. I was like, you know this junkie, but don't leave him with your house. Don't leave him with none of your stuff. Don't leave him with your accounts. He bled her dry. It was crazy. And I was just like, nah, man.
And then was just gone.
And then he was gone. And she never saw him again. And then she was trying to get some recoup back. And that's when she found out about the other two. Well, she knew about Nikki, but Nikki came to get her claim, even though she was in jail. And I just looked at her. I was just like, man, it's so messed up that women have to the men put them in that situation, you know what I mean? And I felt bad for the youngest one that died, not died, but the youngest one who wasn't with him that long, and then he died due to an overdose. And how she was like trying to be there for him and do all the stuff, and she was there for the funeral and paid for this, that, and was just like, it just threw her back because she was thinking, oh, I found my husband. She was like the straight and narrow one. She was not out there in the world. She was not part of the biz. She wasn't a druggie. She was the straight and narrow one. I felt like,
well, neither of the other ones were druggies either.
I felt like, okay, well, you never know. They could have all been them. They could have been doing them back in those days, but they weren't in the. You know, she wasn't like drink. She was like a straight and narrow girl, and she was just like, oh, I have my husband now. I'm just gonna live my life together, and then he just dies. Like, I'm sure if he was 25, she was much younger, and I just felt like, man, it was messed up to see that one man like messed up all these women's lives.
Yes, like,
and I didn't like that.
That was pretty messed up, but like, I don't know what I was about to say.
But honestly, it was a great watch. Let's talk about the actual film itself. It's just the topic area. It's like you constantly see, especially with Black women, you constantly see these kind of films. Like even I mentioned For Color Girls, When the Rainbow's Not Enough. That is a really good example of how Black women were treated, especially by black men, the trauma that they received from their treatment, and especially in the 60s and stuff. It's
interesting you say that because, like, yesterday I was at my parents' house, and it was just on TV. It was, like, with the commercials and everything, but The Help was on. And I remember Octavia Spencer's character, her husband was, like, you know, beating on her and stuff.
Right.
And it's just like... But that's another great, just tying in with women's history and everything. Right. I mean, it might not necessarily be historical, but probably based off of things that likely happened.
Well, The Help was based off things that not like actually occurred, but there were things that happened in that time. They just weren't like, oh, these characters did these things. No, that was a fictional story of things that did happen, you know. And it just made me think about how much women endure, how resilient, because they had to live on. All the women that he done left and died. He was gone. So, but they had to move on and live and rebuild their lives and just continue because the film, when they met Frankie and stuff, it was in the 60s and 50s, and they were dealt with him that time, but it was like they had gotten older. They had all moved forward.
Yeah.
They, you know, by the time the court case came around, it was like the 80s, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think 86.
Yeah, and they were older. And so you're like, they were still resilient. They moved on. I imagine Zola was still singing and doing her stuff and just rebuilding her life, even though she had like one failed marriage and then another one, you know.
One that was question mark.
Yeah, right. It just points out to the resilience of women, that despite the treatment we receive, especially at the hands of men, that women, you know, we come out on top. And honestly, if we ruled the world, man,
right,
it would be a lot different.
I also like the kind of the unreliable narrator type of aspect in the movie.
How
like when Mickey was talking about how he was on stage and stuff, and she was like, oh yeah, I met him and I didn't know who he was at first, and then he was singing, and then you see in the movie him rip his shirt open. And then like Halle Berry's character Zola was like, no,
he would not be ripping
classy.
His shirt off.
He never. And then when they told the story about the pool when they were at Zola's house, and they encountered
2 different stories.
It was
like,
2 different. It's
they
just
depicted it 2 different ways. It was hilarious, guys.
It was.
The film was full of some wonderful like comedy. Honestly,
it really was.
Just seeing the banter between especially Halle Berry and Vivica.
Yes,
they really went at it, calling each other this and that, half of this, that, pulling the weave, everything. The wig is off. Even the classy girl she got into it at first.
Shots fired. She was
Maya got into it a little bit.
You're so talented and beautiful, and you, Mickey, well, I don't know what Frankie is.
I don't know.
She was like, I don't know what to make of you.
Shade,
right?
So the film was hilarious. And then Frankie, let's say Lorenz Tate, he got it in with all the ladies. The scenes, all of them got a love scene. And it was so 90s, y'all. Anyway, this film was but like, if you see how they depicted it, you're just like, oh, God. So 90s.
It really
I
was.
was like, what is a smoke screen, this rain thing? It was just so silly. I was just looking at how films were made. It was like, well, it was back in the day. So.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the film very much. I couldn't
too.
stop watching it. I was like so engrossed in it. And the funny thing is, I really like a film when I'm like, I want to look up stuff while I'm watching. Which is what I was doing, because I was like, this court case is real. This issue, because I had no idea what this film, how it started, what was it about. And I was like, oh, so this really happened. I was like, dang, to find out that little boy caused all this trouble.
Speaking of, that makes me think of like, at some point we should probably review The Harder They Fall, because that was a movie that had me doing this. No, we didn't.
No.
But it was another one of those movies where it's like, this is based off of real people. And I'm like, what? Really? It made me want to go back and like look up all these people to see like, who were they, what happened and all that. It's just really cool when movies make you want to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Is there any other things you want to add about the film?
I just want to say that it made me think of like themes of like, we need people. We need support. You can't just you can't make it just all on your own.
Right.
I feel like Frankie would have been a different man. One, if he had like a support network. And I mean, he had his friends, like you didn't even see him really hanging out with anybody. Like once he like kind of did over the teenagers, well, I mean, granted this was from the perspective of the women, but you didn't see him with like any friends. Yeah, nobody supporting, no friends, no family that you saw. So I'm like, yeah, you don't have that. It's a very low chance that you're going to like do well in the world. And yeah.
And one thing I got out of it was that back in the 60s and stuff, people were just doing whatever the hell they want. Nobody was double checking. Nobody was like, let me look into this dude for you. Because I was like, how the heck did he get by marrying all these women in 3 different places? And nobody did a background check. Like for the third girl, I was like, no, check up on this mug. Don't just be like, I'm going to marry him. Check up on him. But nobody was doing that. And I was like, wow. Because she would have found out that he was married already.
Yeah.
She would have found out before, because he came at her like, oh, I'm in the army. I'm this good. I used to sing. He just came at her like he was some sweet, like, innocent man. And I was just like, nah, lies. I was vexed for the women. And I was just like, yo, we gotta be careful. I was like, nobody like looked into him, like none of her family. I was like, she came from a family back that had, support and stuff. I was like, did none of your dad's brother, somebody, cousin, baby, whatever, Uncle Ray, nobody looked into her to make sure Frankie was legit? No, nobody
I feel like
did.
that's more of a modern thing. When you said that about looking into him, I started watching like the first couple episodes of the Mindy Project.
Oh no.
And then she goes out with this guy and he's like, she's talking about something. And he was like, I didn't tell you that. She was like, I did a background check. It's fine.
Yeah, background check is necessary for women. Because like, nowadays, if you look at how people are dating and everything like that, it's just like you could understand. But people out here killing folks, all this kind of stuff is happening. It's like, it's amazing anyone does online dating and like actually goes through with it. Like to me, where you're like, I've never gone on a date that somebody I met online ever. And so to me, it's like, it's hard for me to trust that. Really hard for me to trust that. Cause I'm like, you could be a psycho, a killer, somebody crazy that's trying to harm. And then some people are, and then they could be real innocent, cool guys. I'm not knocking the online date, but it's just like, to me, I don't know. I'm in that grouping where it's hard for me to trust that kind of thing. So for this day and age, I'll be like, yeah, we're going to run some background. I'm going to look at your Instagram. I'm going to look at all this stuff to make sure you're not a killer. You okay? I'm not trying to die.
Or an F-boy.
With
a whole other family or 2 families.
Right? Because
out here somewhere.
I like peace. I want peace. Why don't you like peace? Is the question I have for everybody who want to talk nonsense, drama, everything. I'd be like, don't you want peace? Because I like peace. That's what I say.
I'm sorry for making another health reference. It just made me think of Viola Davis. Ain't you tired, Miss Hilly?
Yeah, right. Ain't you tired? You gotta say it in the black. Ain't you tired? But again, with this film, it's like a really classic black film from the 90s. I loved it very much.
Very
I enjoyed
entertaining.
it was so entertaining, and I loved watching it with my black girls here. And I liked talking about it. I like
it is. We had a really great discussion about it.
It was awesome, and I like talking to you guys about all the different things that were in it. And the music was so good. Costumes were so good.
Yes,
it was one of those classic. We were talking when we got really into like the biopics of that time, like the Tina Turner one and the Temptations and the Jackson 5 series. All that stuff. We got really
great
into them. Right.
You know what? That's a good point you make. I feel like all of those were kind of around the 90s. They did a really great job of like black biopics in the 90s
and showing those lives. And it's unfortunate how so many of them have like the same struggles, stories. And I don't know why it's a common thread for these artists to suffer so much with addictions and
I feel
drugs
like for some of it, it's
stuff.
because it's like they start so young and like for a child or impressionable, like having that much pressure, that much stuff,
early.
You really need to have like really great guard because you don't see very many who come out
unscathed.
Unscathed. Because like Britney Spears. Oh my God, Britney Spears. Like that.
Why now? I just saw her like dancing on TikTok recently, and I was just like, Britney, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, you look like somebody's mom that got drunk and just was doing too much, and that you need to sit down and put some clothes on. And I felt bad for thinking that because I was so supporting Britney, and I still like support her freedom, but I was like, what are you doing now though? Like, what is this? This isn't good. Like, stop doing this.
But you see so many of that. People who start out young either seem like they have like a lot of issues or don't even make it. I can't remember what this.
Talking about Justin Bieber?
No, it was there was this guy who was an actor. He was in a lot of like 80s or 90s movies. Young dude. He didn't even make it. Like, he died.
Yeah,
I feel like it might have been suicide or something. But it's like, either they're kind of seem like they're pretty messed up, or they don't even make it all the way.
So you got to shout out to the parents who legitimately... I look at Maisel Martin, who was on Blackish. Have you ever watched the film... I forgot the name of the film now. But have you ever seen the show Blackish or watched?
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes.
So the young girl on there, she's grown up now.
Okay.
She's an adult now. But she started off as a kid actress. But she had a good foundation in her parents that now she's like the youngest like producer of all time in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She produced a film with her and Issa and Regina King where she was like, it was called, I think, Grown Up or something. I forgot the name of the film. Sorry, y'all.
Oh, wait, no, that's the series.
No, not Grownish, the series. But she made a film, and then she produces other stuff now. She has her own production company and everything. But because her parents instill values and everything into her, she's not off the rails. She's not out here acting crazy. She was able to actually focus her giftings and her talent into making this production company early. Instead of waiting around and waiting until she was 20-something. She was like, no, we're going to focus. We're going to do this. And that's the benefit of having parents who are like there for you, who support you, who recognize your talent, but now are trying to abuse it and use it.
Right.
And then you end up falling out.
You also have to make sure they have the chance to be a kid.
Right. I think she had that. She's so well balanced and grind. When I see her on things or documentaries or everything, the last thing I saw her in was in Hair Tales by Tracee Ellis Ross, which is a docuseries about black hair. I recommend everyone watch it. There was one episode with just her. She was like the main episode head for that particular episode, and she was just like, I was like, I can't believe this girl's a child star. She's so well adjusted. Like, she's like, my parents keep me down, they keep me grounded,
right?
And I'm like,
and you need
that's
that.
what they need, because I'm like out here with the other ones. You just like. You got the Nick Cannons. Not Nick Cannon. Well, let's not talk about Nick Cannon. I meant the Nick Carters. You got the Justin Biebers. You got even that little girl from iCarly that was so happy her mom died because of all the abuse and craziness. Even Drew Barrymore's story. There's so much going on in the world, in that entertainment world. They don't protect children, innocent youth.
That is a great thing to say, because I was thinking exactly that they need to be protected, and they don't always get the protection that all children need.
They definitely didn't have it back in the 60s and stuff. So much crap was happening. That's why I'm sure I couldn't be so mad at Frankie Lyman, even though I was, but I felt like, I bet you he didn't have the best upbringing.
Yeah, he never had a chance. He was like 14.
He didn't have any guidance.
When this happened, you never saw like, oh, his mother was on the road with him to make sure, like, you didn't even see a parent. So it's like, what
happened?
What support was there?
And then he got into drugs easy. So it just goes to show you. But going back to the women, I really thought this was a great film to spotlight the actresses. They shined in this film.
They did.
This was even though it was a Frankie Lyman story, it was really about the women.
It really was.
It was all about them, and they shined so much, and they did such a great job. And I was happy to see something with them in it again, because I haven't seen anything with them in a while. Halle Berry, even though they're out there doing stuff, but I just was happy to see them, even if it was from the 90s. I just love that I watched that film. And are we gonna get into rating right now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm going to rate the movie an 8. 8 glasses.
Nice.
Right.
You know what? I think we're going to have an average of 8 because I think I agree with 8 glasses.
It was a very good watch.
It was.
I could watch it again, actually.
And it's great because, sometimes there's certain things you watch. Now, granted, I guess it's easier for dramas where you don't have to worry about special effects, even though, like you said, there were some very dated scenes. But it's like, you can go back and you can rewatch it and then be like, this is still awesome.
I'm right. I got you. And I like stuff like that, too. I'm not going to lie to you. All those, biopics from those time periods, you could literally go back and watch them. I remember watching the Jackson 5 one over and over again.
Oh my God.
Anytime it was on, I was like, well, this is what I'm going to watch today.
And that's quite a watch because I think that's more of a mini series than a movie. I think
I didn't even care. It was just on. I didn't even know. I didn't realize it was a mini series because it would just be playing, and I would just watch the whole thing. And I would sit there. Once I found it was on VH1 all the time. I don't know why. It was always on VH1. The Tina Turner story too.
Oh my God, I love what is the name of it? I think it's another one with a W.
What's love got to do with it?
It is. Both of them are W's. Why do fools fall in love? What's love got to do with it?
Right. And so it was just really good. But anyway, guys.
Sorry. I thought of another tie-in.
Oh.
To what you were saying about how men were really shitty, especially more so, or I guess could get away more so with stuff than.
Right.
It made me think of I watched the documentary Tina that's on HBO Max. And everybody knows what a bastard Ike Turner was.
Yeah.
But watching the documentary was just even more so eye-opening. Because here's this woman who has become even more successful after the Ike and Tina stuff. Queen of rock and roll and all this stuff. And these reporters are still asking her about Ike. She has been divorced for the same amount of time or more than what she was married to him. And y'all talking about, well, Ike Turner was just arrested for a drug charge in California. You have anything to say about that, Tina? Hell no, I don't. I haven't seen him in 16 years. Why would I?
It's over.
Right? Why are you asking me these questions? And he was supremely abusive. Why do you keep bringing up this trauma for her?
She survived that too. Look at this. Angela Bassett is all over this episode. I was like, she's in the Jackson 5 thing. She's in the Tina Turner. Oh Lord.
Maybe it's a sign that she's gonna win tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope.
Well, for y'all it'll be last Sunday or this past Sunday.
Let's hope she wins at the Oscars.
Yeah, seriously. But I was just thinking because one of the things that I didn't know, which again, what's love got to do with it? Amazing. It stands up another one that you can how old was that? 90s, 2000, 20 years ago. That it's still excellent. But watching the Tina documentary, you find out that Ike changed her name. He didn't ask her.
Right.
He just changed it.
Yes.
And it's just
so many women are constantly losing their identity, their who they are, their dignity, everything at the hands of men all the time. And it's it's hard to see because some countries it's not even, and it's it's okay. You know what I mean? And I remember talking to my mom about some issues and things where I was because Nigeria is still very much patriarchal, more so. I mean, things are starting to change, but they still have that patriarchy mindset. And my mom was like, what's good for goose is good for gander. I don't know what that means, but it's basically she was fighting with somebody and talking about how in these kind of relation things and issues when stuff happens, it shouldn't be okay that the men can do things. And then when it's the women turning around to do their own, that's when it's a problem. Oh no, you can't be thinking this is American style thinking. No, it shouldn't be that the men can get away with doing all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If they have made vows, they need to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be treating these women right and fairly. Okay, so you can go do your own, but when I'm doing my own, it's a problem. No way, man. I'm sorry.
When you're out in the club, don't think I'm not. When you're out making love, don't think I'm not. If you feeling good in somebody's spot, getting high, don't stop. Just don't think I'm not, 'cause I'm out getting mine.
Anyway, that's the anthem for the girls. Like, we run the world. I'm really hoping that we see more women doing things, changing things. I mean, women are like popping up, stepping up, doing so much more so than I see it even in my family, my daily life, and in the world. We see so many women are taking charge and doing things, no longer sitting on the sidelines. Man, y'all need to pony up.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
I don't know that song. All right, y'all. On that note, we are going to blur
ringing on their own bells.
All right, happy Women's History Month, everybody.
Happy Women's History Month, everyone.
And don't forget to check out all of our social medias for all of our awesome TikToks and other things. We'll catch you later.
Join the email list, y'all.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to our show on whatever podcast listening app you use and share the show with other blurred and non-blurred family and friends. And if you like this episode, please subscribe to our email newsletter at blerdtalkbw.ck.page and also rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts.
Intro and outro music is Twilight by Caption. You can find them on SoundCloud, username Caption spelled CAPSHUN. Show notes by Bola, Hanson, audio engineering by Whitney Booker.
And don't forget to get social, you guys. You can email us at blerdtalkbw@gmail.com. And our social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is at BlerdTalkBW. And our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@BlerdTalkBW. And we've got our individual things going on too. You can find the Triple F Queen on Instagram at Triple F Queen B as in boy. And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/@Triple F Queen B.
And you can find me, Whitney, at Luminabi Studios, my company, and the email address is wit@luminabi.com, spelled WHIT @LUMENABI.com. And you can also find me on Twitter at Luminabi Studios.